You done incurred my wrath, son. Let's do this Texas style.
Hello everyone and welcome to another Team Fortress 2 video. This time we'll be watching a spectated match between a number of players on this map. This is 2 Fort, as typified by its 2 forts. This is actually an updated version of the original 2 Fort from Team Fortress the Quake mod. And let's start with the bridge, because that's the main thing that you'll probably be seeing a lot of in the course of a game on this map. So, the bridge can be more or less delineated into 3 different sections. You've got the middle section, where the bulk of people will go, the top section, which is usually the purview of scouts and occasionally soldiers, and then the lower section, which is often used by spies, but it is able to be accessed by everyone. And it basically goes from most discreet to least discreet. So you're looking at the bottom if you're trying to sneak, because from the balconies that are usually occupied by the snipers, pretty much that route is entirely unseeable. You can't see anyone down there. But you can see people heading into this mid-section. This is a lot faster to get to. You don't really have to do anything special to get here. You just run out of your spawn and down the stairs into here. But you then have to brave the snipers a little bit more. And then on the top, which is the purview of scouts, this is the fastest thing to get to. If you're a scout or a soldier, you can get to this pretty much immediately after leaving spawn, and you can get right across to the enemy base. But whilst you're doing that, you have to worry about all of the snipers, because they are going to have clear lines of sight with you. So the snipers pretty much start out on this balcony. That's where you'll usually find them, because it gives them a nice, clear view of pretty much the rest of the map as far as the external pieces of the bases go. There is also a spawn point here for them, and this nice little covered area over there and over here, where an engineer, if he's feeling particularly helpful, can put some kind of dispenser system. It's a little more uncommon, but you can see engineers put sentries onto here, which will lay down an ungodly wrath of death and pain onto anyone that's coming in front of the base, but has the slight downside that it's really accessible for snipers outside of the standard sentry range. So if you want to do that, it's probably good to go with a Wrangler in your secondary, just in case the enemy snipers get a bit wise. But beyond that, if you're coming down here, this is the first area that you'll usually encounter. Now, this is your first problem point, because you can see this point here. Now this is a small room just off to the side from the main resupply point. This is more or less where everyone goes. So there's the battlement's entrance, that leads into the courtyard there, and this leads straight down to the intel room. And people can put sentries here on this grating. They can't put it over there, but an enterprising demo man can certainly stand there. And if he is standing here, he has access to this whole area. So there's the area beneath, and there's this area here, which comes straight from the sewers. So this is your first problem area. It's where you'll usually find a lot of resistance when you're attacking. Defenders have a lot of options here, so they should really try to exercise them, because this is a capture the flag map where you run down to the intel room and you grab the intel case and you run out over to your base and capture it. Do that 3 or 4 times and you've won the game. So defense plays a big role in here as well as offense. But presuming that you get past that, great, which by the way also serves as an access route, so if you were a scout with certain loadouts or a soldier, you can bounce up into here and that gives you the straight route to this intel corridor. But once you get past here, you've got these 2 routes here. Now this one leads into a nice little room with this nice little corner where an enterprising engineer can once again put a sentry here. Usually it's just a mini sentry, because this corner makes it really easy for people to bombard it with firepower quite happily. But these both lead around and into this courtyard. This courtyard is sort of the big defensive point that you need to worry about when you're playing this map, because it has a lot of different entryways. So there is down here, there is down there, and if they come across the battlements or up through that vent, there is here as well. I see a lot of people putting sentries inside of here, but they need to be very careful, because if they are not careful, they'll completely miss the courtyard. They can also completely miss the battlements. Usually the ideal place to put a sentry is right in this door frame. So if anyone runs into here, then they'll get caught as they're trying to go up into the stairs to get to that intel route. And if they come up through here, they'll get shot a few times at least, and if they try to go for the battlements, they'll get hit as well. So if you want to set up a sentry on the upper levels, you go for that doorway right there. Now, one other thing to note about this is that over down here, we have an alternative exit route for that far spawn point from the balcony. So if you want to get behind someone, if you want to get down to the levels from there without running across the balcony, as many people have to because these spawn systems are a little mean that way, then you can jump down here, and that gives you immediate access to the front of the base. Now, it's worth noting that these two entryways combined form a circle. So if there is, for example, a medic and a heavy that's coming through this room, about to storm through that door and take down whatever's waiting there, you can run down here, through here, and you are immediately behind them. And heavies are at their absolute most vulnerable from behind, which is also where their squishy medic tends to stand. Just be careful that they don't have an Uber, although if you do and you can get them to pop it early, then that reduces the amount of use they can get from it. So next, we go downhill here. Now this is a third resupply point. People do not spawn in here, but it is worth pointing out because it's a very good source of health and ammunition down here if things happen to get a bit hairy. But here is the entryway to the intelligence room. So the intel room is the main area of attack. It's the main point that mostly all of the offensive team is going to be looking for. So the red team, in this case, since we're in the blue base, will be trying to get down to this basement level, either by the side entrance from the area in front of the initial spawn, or from the courtyard. Those are the two entryway points that you can use. Now, you have two entryways into the intelligence room. They both have elbow corners to them. And together, much like upstairs with the lower section there, they do actually form a circle as well. And inside, you have this fairly large area. You've got nice corners that can, if you put a sentry there, they can guard pretty much anything that comes in through a given door. And then you've got the intel case that you're really interested in this table with the capture zone, where a returning scout, for example, with the enemy intel has to stop to provide you, generally, depending on the server, with a few seconds of crits. It's worth noting that this area is too far enough away from what is generally the front lines for anyone that captures it to have those crits. Unfortunate, but it will. Now, if you put a sentry in here, you can more or less take down anyone. You can have a demo man guarding it as well, but what you need to pay attention to is those elbow corners. Whilst they prevent anyone from seeing into the room when they're on their way in, and they do also provide very rapid cover for anyone that's trying to shell an unmanned sentry. So generally speaking, down here you will find an engineer who is being very bored but serving an extremely vital purpose. Also on this level we can find these. This is a small dugout area that leads directly into that sewer entrance and comes directly from the underside of the bridge. Now, this is a key area because it's an area that isn't often visited by people who are trying to not be discreet, which makes it a fantastic location for the enemy engineers to put a teleporter. Which then gives them rapid access into your base from an area that bypasses most of your initial defenses, more or less short of the courtyard. So if you're playing seriously, you want to be looking out in here for any kind of engineer setup that happens to come up. But more or less, this is a handy thing to remember as being here, because there is a mid-level ammo and health drop in here. So if you're being chased or you're low on health or you had a bit of an accident running across the bridge, you can duck into the water, into the sewers, and come and grab one of these. And this is mirrored on the other side, because this is a red versus blue map, so there is mirrored versions of everything on each side. But overall, that is how 2 Fort functions, and my advice is make sure you have an engineer in your intel room, and then pound the ever-loving hell out of the other team. And as always, watch your step. Okay, stop. This medic apparently does not know that the trail behind that scout means he's invulnerable. Good shot, although the pyro there should have really taken air blast. He's too busy focusing on his flare gun. Okay, there are too many people going after this one medic now. Now they can go after the one medic. Let's see what they have defending, shall we? Absolutely nothing. And on the blue side, absolutely nothing. But meanwhile, we know that red at least has an engineer, so what's Edgar up to? Edgar is playing a Frontier... He's playing the Frontier Justice kind of a gunslinger engineer, and he has decided to set up right next to the intelligence, which is admirable. But unfortunately, the gunslinger engineer only has a mini sentry, which, though it sets up very quickly and fires very quickly, is not nearly as powerful nor resilient. It will take about 2 shots from a rocket launcher to kill. So right now, they have the problem that that sentry is only defending one room, and it's only going to defend it so much. So, not a fantastic situation. Meanwhile, we know that Blue has at least 2 rocket jumpers, and one of them is running through right now, although Owsley's about to get caught by a pyro. Ouch. Okay, but apparently Plant is decent at remembering he can air blast, so that's good at least. And Meowenstein's fighting it too much for him there, but thankfully the scout helps him out. And Edgar is still waiting around in the respawn point. Why is he doing that, I wonder? He should be heading down to the red intel room to defend. Or else that'll happen. So where's that intel now? Oh, the red intel is currently stuck in their intel base, being ganged up by everyone in creation. Oh dear. Okay, careful with your gloves, might say. Especially if you're going out into the open range. And keep an eye on your sides, because there is a scout about. What is Jolly up to? Jolly is in his own base, but... Ooh, that did not look good, did it? Looks like he was playing a bit of defense, but unfortunately that didn't work too well for him. Okay, here comes Plant to his own base, and yeah, it looks like Edgar is setting up shop very resolutely in that one room, which has advantages. It can cover the enemies that are coming in from the battlements, such as scouts or rocket jumpers, but he can't really cover anyone going in through that main entryway courtyard. And even if he does, he's only got the mini sentry, so it's only going to stop them so much. The mini sentry serves more as harassment than anything else. So we see Meowenstein, we can see his trail coming up now, is on his way up, and he's taking the courtyard exit, which means that he's going to be completely unaffected by... See if I can find him. Unaffected by that sentry. Meanwhile, Zen is taking up the leisurely pastime of the sniper on 240, standing on the base of the balcony to see if he can take down as much as he can. Ooh, and Owsley has gone spy! He's taken down basically all of Edgar's route. I don't think he really hadn't really had to, but he's gonna have a problem now because he is now a Giratied spy facing a pyro. He has the dead ringer, but I don't know if his health will allow him to survive even this. Okay, Mikhail has gone engineer as well, it seems, so Red now has 2 engineers. And Mikhail looks to be packing the standard loadout, so he's got the full level 3 sentry. So there is the advantage that he should be able to do a much better job of defending this.
The enemy has dropped our intelligence.
Of defending the intel rooms, but unfortunately he seemed to be setting up on the bridge, which is an odd place to set up because it's generally extremely exposed, and so consequently has the big issues that it's going to get a lot of fire, and it's kind of hard to keep a sentry alive from persistent fire. It's possible, it's just very difficult. The guard is presently standing in the spawn doing nothing. Tiring jolly, apparently. Okay, so meanwhile, we have Zen, who's taken down the lower entrance, which is also a fairly standard tactic, because most people are paying attention to the balconies, so they don't tend to expect snipers on the lower levels as much, and that is the reason why, because they can be easily overrun by the majority of the classes, because it's a small selection of classes that can get to the balcony easily. But then snipers also tend to have to worry about a great degree of tunnel vision, wherein they don't realize what exactly is happening around them when they're scoped. Which is why it's advisable to stay unscoped as long as possible. Now we have an intel running in from the tunnels here. It's a demo man, so he should be using his charge. He's got the charge and charge equipped, so he should be using his charge to reduce the amount of time it's going to take him to get down to the intel. There's Custard, who apparently did not have much trouble with Mitzi there. Seemed to be reacting in the slightest. And Custard's going to need to be careful of that mini-sentry, because a mini-sentry is still pretty painful for a scout. They only have 125 HP, but much as with the snipers, try not to get tunnel vision or you will get caught by things like the pyro, who create damage over time effects with their fire. Now Jägerbutz here has a valiant try, but unfortunately not quite enough to overcome those two guys, unfortunately. Now Town Called Hypocrisy should really be moving downstairs in order to defend the intel, because it's already been taken once. It's liable that they're just going to keep coming along and grabbing it. And that's twice now, so they need to be more careful with their intelligence here. If the enemy grabs it one more time, then it is game over for Red Team. Okay, so we've got a sentry on the balcony, and we've got a sentry in this interior room in front of spawn, which will deter spawn camping at least, but we're still not going to see much defense here. It's still not covering that main entryway courtyard at all. Oh, and it looks like the enemy's been setting up a sentry nearby, so let's see where that's going to go. Their engineer is Chris the Greek. Yeah, if Custard takes this right-hand stairway, he can go straight down to the intel room and out, but nobody seems to be realizing this. And also, every time Custard does a big jump like that, he's gonna have troubles. Now that mini-sentry cannot be repaired, only reloaded, so its time is limited no matter what happens to it. But on the other hand, every single person it kills, were Edgar wielding the Frontier Justice, which I don't believe he is, would be a mini crit for Edgar. Now meanwhile, Custard here is using the Soda Popper, which means the longer he runs around, the faster he manages to get a period of mini crits. Edgar, Hypocrisy, and Mikhail now are running the engineer. So there's two pyros coming up here. They're gonna have trouble with that sentry. Yep, there goes one of them. Now, if that sniper switched to SMG, he could have taken him down a lot easier. Secondary weapon is an SMG, which is a rapidly firing, but a fairly mid-range to short-range kind of weapon, intended for when someone gets around your tunnel vision. And Zen is taking up a defensive position there, but by the looks of it, there is a fiery heavy coming through. Well, that could have been Sawtooth the Pyromancer, seems to be about his character. Now, unfortunately, the level 3 on the balcony that has now apparently just been destroyed. So that's one level less of effective defense. And Hypocrisy. Oh, that was painful to watch. Okay, so let's see what's happening with Blue Team, shall we? There's still nothing going on in their base because they only have the one engineer, and Chris the Greek does not seem to be setting up anywhere. So let's see if we can find him. There's Chris the Greek. He is running Gunslinger, and he is planting his mini sentry by the balconies. That's a good way to harass the red team and potentially get a few mini crits from assisting people, but by and large you're not going to see much purchase there. The mini sentry is basically for distraction more than anything else. You can use it in certain maps, in certain places, as an effective deterrent, but it is not really effective compared to a regular sentry at killing people. Okay, so now there's 3 members of Red Team heading down to their intel. That was a Soldier, a Pyro, and a Jägerbutz, the demo. Let's see if we can follow them. There's Jolly. Oh, and they are not seeing Zen or behind them, who who has remarkably gone to a spy. Unfortunately for Sawtooth. Oh, wow! Nice move by Plant. Ooh, sorry. Nice move by Zen. They all jump behind the enemy on the stairway and backstab them into oblivion. Nice move. But unfortunately, the spy is not very good in a prolonged fight, especially against Pyros, who basically nullify their invisibility. Meanwhile, Hypocrisy is still running the default loadout, it seems. Yeah, that is where the strategy of putting that sentry there comes in really handy. It's for stopping low health scouts from getting over onto the bridge there. What about them grabbing stuff? We're doing nice. Ooh, and that Hypocrisy is exactly where a sentry should go for defending this courtyard. A very nice placement there. So Red has so far successfully defended against Blue from grabbing their third grab, which will be the end of the match. Owsley is just running through here. We can hear some bad stuff going on upstairs. And it sounds like there's a spy running around. Okay, there's 2 Pyros and a medic. Let's see how this goes down, because we know there's a sentry in there. Yeah, there it is. Now what Owsley should be doing is standing under there. Excellent, that's the blind spot of the sentry. And what he should have done is pointed upwards and blown his flamethrower until he could hear the crackling crystalline sound of the building being burned. But unfortunately he didn't do that. So unfortunately that sentry is largely unharmed. So good work, Hypocrisy. Better luck next time, Owsley. Oh, and by the sounds of it, there is a spy about. Yep, that is Zen, still running around as a spy. But yeah, as you can see there, the sentry didn't take much power from Plant to take down there. But at least on the bright side, Plant was distracted enough for everyone else to get him. Okay, so here's Chris the Geek. Let's see how he's doing down here. He's got decent health. We're in the Gunslinger, as we know, because he goes mini sentry, and he is packing the Frontier Justice, so as you can see, he has 1 or more mini crits stored up. So if he can get some decent shots with that, bearing in mind my aim is usually terrible, then he can get a bunch of mini crits on people. Okay, so the intel has been grabbed, but it's Blue's intel. As an upset, it appears that the enemy heavy has grabbed their intelligence. Okay, there is Sudavenx, the red heavy. He is overheal because you've got a medic with him. Great, he's running the Brass Beast, so he's getting the most damage possible from the minigun. He needs to stay focused because this is a terrible place to get caught by the enemy. Case in point, here's a Pyro to ruin his day. But Pyro is barely able to get to the medic behind him, so he is okay for the time being. Health pack there for the medic. Medics always get priority on health packs. Meanwhile, yep, there we go. Yeah, this is a terrible place to get stuck because the enemy can spawn right next to it and just plow a large volume of firepower into it. And of course, there goes the medic, and is going to realize, no, he isn't. Oh dear. You can always see on your screen that you're being healed or not, so it's a good idea at that point to be paying attention to it to prevent yourself from getting train stabbed, that is called. Okay, sounds like Chris the Geek is still up to his tricks, and there's still no defense in any of these rooms. Yes, it certainly is. Okay, so here's Owsley with the Pyro. Owsley is in Pyro Vision goggles, which means he's seeing a very interesting world compared to us right now. Okay, that's a lot of firepower in front of Red Base. But will it be enough to overcome their defenses with that level 3 sentry? Apparently yes, because the sentry is gone. So let's see. Edgar is now the sole remaining red engineer. would appear that Hypocrisy has left the game, and consequently he has left red base largely undefended. There's always the very dangerous prospect of when an engineer leaves the server, is it's going to leave up your defense to a lot of holes. Zen is trying for the jump stab again. Ah, but unfortunately got backstabbed by Endorphin. And then Jägerbutz managed to get flat. So these two spies are doing pretty well. Oh, but there goes Endorphin. Getting just Jägerbutz, but if Jägerbutz is careful enough about this, he can go and grab that last grab for the intel. But alas, nope. Okay, so Plant had an encounter there with Chris the Geek's mini sentry. It's placed in a really decent point, but unfortunately it appears to be under clear fire from Might Seed the Soldier. Now this area is always a bit of a kill zone. If you notice that grate up there, you can put a level 3 sentry, and that is a really nasty place to put one because it's then fairly easy for people to jump in behind enemy invading team members and just grab them from the balcony. Owsley overextended himself there. He was doing the much maligned W plus M1 pyro style, which is typical of newer players, but in this particular case it's mostly an issue because you can't do much of anything and you're just constantly using up fuel. Because bear in mind, the pyro runs at normal speed, which makes it very easy for most everything to outrun him. Especially scouts, although people running backwards do run slower, so that's at least. Nice job, Zen. Oh, and it looks like Owsley is leaving now, which means that I'm going to be short in players. Okay, there's a fierce fight going up on the boards there. Suvek should really go and see about his health. But he's keeping... Oh, Kickbow has grabbed the red intelligence, a scout, using the, by the looks of that, the force of nature. So he just has to avoid sentries, and ideally those guys. So if he's smart about this, he can run right around them, and they'll barely if ever realize. For some reason that's a trick that no one really seems to pay attention to. He's going. He's going. Oh. There's Edgar. Come on, don't focus on Edgar, off you go. You've got bigger priorities right now. Okay, he's just gloating at this point, really. But I suppose he has reason to gloat. I mean, he's got full health at this point. But remember, the scout doesn't have much health, so it's very easy for him to go down. Okay, there goes Zen. That's not the best place for a medic and a soldier to be. But we're going to be doing okay for it. Ooh, and that is why there's a sniper on this side. With the bizarre bargain, evidently. And the folly of Kickbow. Yes, unfortunately, he only has 125 health, so away he goes. And so now, there is the enemy intelligence sitting on the boards of the bridge, waiting for someone to go and grab it. But that scout way over. Is that Kickbow again? Okay, Kickbow has grabbed again. Is he going to learn from his mistakes? No, he is going whole hog back into them. And there it goes again. Okay, come on, Yabba. Is Yabba going to be smarter about this? Okay, he's using his charge to speed up his retreat. Excellent. And he's dropped it using the L key, so that the Kickbow scout can pick it up again and run all the way home to victory. So, in summation, our observations there is that the both teams could have done with more defense, but red team just only had Edgar, and he was only defending one room, and he wasn't doing a very fantastic job of that either. So my advice here would be, blue team, you need to get on defense a bit more, but you are doing pretty okay so far. Red team definitely needs to improve their defensive strategies. I would recommend by having at least one engineer inside of the intel room, or at least defending the courtyard. And beyond that, maybe red team could invest in a sniper, because they were getting kind of weird. They were doing quite well with snipers throughout that whole match. Other than that, this has been Lying About Mine, and I hope you've enjoyed this little retrospective into a TF2 game on Twofold. Catch you next time. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and or a favourite. Follow me on Twitter and subscribe to be notified of future updates. You can also check out the website where most other content is uploaded. That's all for now, catch you later.